Those who have bad thoughts in their mind day and night always have opposite thoughts in their mind, but they are not able to overcome it by doing anything. They should watch today's video till the end. Hopefully today's story of Gautama Buddha will show you a practical solution to this problem. Today's story is about a king who became a monk in the hermitage of King Gautama Buddha. So to become a monk, he has to go begging for food. All the monks go there. On the first day after becoming a monk, that king was also about to leave to go begging. Gautama Buddha stopped him. He said, "You know nothing about begging, so you won't go begging today. Until yesterday you were a king, and today you are a hermit. I understand that it is very difficult for you to go straight to begging right now. Therefore, I called a nun. May she prepare your food every day." Her cottage is a few miles away from this ashram. So instead of going to beg, the monk left for the nun's house. As he went, he thought, from now on, he won't be able to eat his own favorite foods. He would never eat them again, because monks have to eat what they get by begging, and he became a monk by his own will. Anyway, thinking about these things, he reached the nunnery. The nun had cooked food for the monk, as she had been told beforehand. When the monk sat down to eat, and the nun brought the food in front of him, he was surprised to see the food. All the food that he liked to eat was cooked in front of him. A little surprised at first, he thought it was a coincidence. Anyway, he can eat his favorite food. What more he can want? So he ate the food happily. After the meal, he thought, "Every day in the palace, I used to rest for a while after the meal. But from today, I will no longer have that fate. At once I must go so far in this full sun." Immediately, he thought that he had become a monk of his own accord. So, why is he bringing these silly thoughts to his mind? The nun said, "You rest for a while after the meal. You will find it hard to walk that far after eating right away. I would also like it if you rest here for a while." So the monk was again surprised to hear this from the nun. He thought, what happened? I didn't say anything out loud. So he can read the mind? Immediately he thought again, no, what am I thinking? This must also be a coincidence. He knows that I have come from so far with difficulty, and it will be difficult for me to walk so far in this noon sun. So maybe that's why he told me this. I'm the only one thinking about it. So the nun spread something like a mat for him to sleep on in the building outside the cottage. That monk lay on that mat and looked at the open sky above and thought, "Till yesterday I had a beautiful palace. In that beautiful room, I slept on an expensive bed, and today I neither have that beautiful palace, nor a beautiful house, nor an expensive bed, not even a little shadow over my head today. Today I am lying on the ground under the open sky." So while he was thinking these things, suddenly that monk came there and said to him, "Why are you thinking like this? There is no greater shadow here than Gautama Buddha. There is no roof as beautiful as the open sky, and no bed as beautiful as the ground. You don't get sad just thinking about the past." After hearing this, the monk immediately sat up. Now he can't accept this as a coincidence. He began to think that this nun must be able to read minds. He asked the nun, "Can you read minds? What I'm thinking in my mind, are you going to know everything?" The nun smiled and said, "Yes, you can." The monk said, "How? How can you read other people's minds?" The nun said, "I have achieved this by practice. First, I observed the thoughts running through my mind through meditation. Then after a while, no more thoughts came to my mind. My mind was in a kind of thoughtless state. Now, I can understand a little of what is going on in the minds of other people around me." After hearing this, the monk's eyes widened. His hands and feet became cold in fear, because the nun in front of him was a very beautiful woman, and some bad thoughts about her came to his mind. That means she got to know them? He thought, "Shit, do you know how bad I am? Can't stay here another moment." Thinking this, he immediately got up and left from there, and hastened to Gautama Buddha and fell at his feet. He said to Gautama Buddha, "I will not be able to go to eat at that nun's house from tomorrow." Buddha said, "Why? Did you have any problems there?" The monk said, "No, there was no problem. She respected me enough, and cooked and fed me all my favorite foods. But even then I can't go there from tomorrow. Please leave this matter at that. Gautama Buddha said, I can't leave like this without knowing the real reason. Tell me what happened. What must the monk do? He had to tell the real reason. He said that none knows how to read minds. She is telling me what I'm thinking. She is a very beautiful woman. So, even if I didn't want to, I had bad thoughts for her several times. Now you tell me how I will stand in front of her. I don't know how bad you think about me. Buddha said, I did not send you there for no reason. There is a great reason behind sending you there. So until it is filled, you have to go there. As long as I forbid you to go, you eat there every day. But yes, from now on when you go there, you will observe every thought that comes into your mind. What thoughts come to your mind every moment, observe them very carefully. Don't try to suppress those thoughts. Do not try to suppress them. Do not think that certain thoughts do not come into you. Let the thoughts alone come and go alone. You will not sit on them. Your job is only one, to observe with full awareness all the thoughts that come to your mind. So what will the monk do? As the Buddha said, he left for the nun the next day. Various thoughts kept coming to his mind. What did the nun think of him? How to stand in front of her? These many thoughts started running in his mind. At the beginning of the journey, he did not care much about observing Gautama Buddha's thoughts. But as he neared the nun's house, he remembered it. He immediately became fully conscious. Fear began to rise in his mind. He stood in one place and thought. From this moment on, he had to carefully observe every thought in his mind. If any bad thoughts about that woman suddenly come, then immediately apologize to her. He had never been so aware of his own thoughts. But since the nun could read his mind when she was near, he became aware of what was going on in his mind with every step. He took each step forward, aware. The nun entered the cottage and became conscious. Even every breath is taken with full awareness. It should not leave a single thought in his mind. But today a strange thing happened to him. As he began to observe the thoughts in his mind at every step, he noticed that no thoughts were running through his mind. The more he tried to see what was going on in his mind, the more he saw that everything was empty. No thought is there. He went to the nun's cottage, ate, rested, and began to observe the thoughts that came to him at every step. But surprisingly, no thoughts came to him that day. After eating and resting, he returned to the ashram and said to Gautama Buddha, "O Buddha, a strange thing happened to me today. As you say, I began to observe my own mind-like thoughts with full awareness. I noticed a complete blankness in my mind. No thought arose there. A couple of times on the way back, I forgot to observe conscious thought. Then I noticed where many thoughts came from in my mind. But as long as I was there and fully aware of my own thoughts, my mind was completely free of thought." Gautama Buddha said, "It is precisely for this teaching that I have sent you there. To eliminate the negative thought waves running through our minds, we must learn to observe them with full awareness. Trying to hold them back will not work, and sitting on them will not work. As they come and go, let them come and go. And if we learn to observe the thoughts going through our mind with concentration, while doing the work we are doing with great awareness, then the waves of thoughts in our mind will gradually decrease. And after a while, it will reach the stage of thoughtlessness." So friends, from this story of Gautama Buddha and the king, we get a practical solution to remove the nonsense thoughts running in our mind. If you notice, you will understand that all the thoughts that come to your mind, almost all of them come in the unconscious state. But if you also know that the person in front of you can do everything that is going on in your mind, would you be so unconscious? Certainly not. Then surely you will observe with great awareness what is going on in your mind. This is the solution to this problem. When doing the work, do it with full awareness. It may not be possible these days to always observe what is going on in the mind. But whenever we remember, we will think to ourselves, should we do it? I know. Again, after a while we forget to do it. That's normal. But when we remember again, we can observe this mind again for a while. And I can sit for some time of the day to meditate. Our work during meditation is only to observe the thoughts running through our minds. Remember, just observing, not trying to stop the thoughts or overthinking them. Just let them come and go. And if you practice it regularly, You will realize that the thoughts running in your mind will come less and less, and you will feel much more peaceful than before. Thanks for watching Inner House. Stay well, keep well,